In this video, we're taking you on a driving tour of Sanibel and Captiva Islands 8 months after Hurricane Ian. And while both islands remain far from fully recovered from the catastrophic storm, several of their beaches are open and as gorgeous as ever, so we're going to show you those as well.
We're starting this tour off on the far east end of Sanibel, which is where you'll find the Lighthouse Beach Park and the historic Sanibel Lighthouse. The lighthouse is 98 foot tall and is a pretty iconic landmark here on Sanibel, but it was damaged during the hurricane, and as of Memorial Day 2023, the park is still closed.
While we continue going west here on Periwinke Lane, we do want to point out that according to Google, there are currently 5 public beaches that are open. If you're primarily watching this video for the beach footage and conditions, feel free to skip ahead to our very first beach stop. We'll include the timestamp for that at the bottom of the screen. We'll also put timestamps for all of our other beach stops today in the video description.
This footage is being taken on Memorial Day of 2023, which is 243 days after Ian made landfall as a high-end Category 4 hurricane just to the north of here on Cayo Costa. Due to this being a holiday weekend, the traffic and the amount of people at the beaches in this video is probably going to be higher than that of recent months, but still probably far less than your typical weekend here prior to Ian. If you haven't noticed already, we will include our current location and direction that we're heading at the bottom of the screen to help you stay oriented. We'll also occasionally put up a map showing our current location, like the one you see right now.
We do want to make it clear that the majority of this driving footage will likely be sped up. This will allow us to show you the condition of more of the islands in a shorter amount of time. We want to assure everyone that we are obeying the speed limits, even though it may appear that we're driving much faster. So based on our research, we do expect to find many of the beaches, shops, and restaurants out here on the islands to still be closed, but it does seem like many are now back open. And that is pretty impressive when you consider the magnitude of Hurricane Ian and the damage that it caused.
We actually read that Ian caused somewhere between 50 and 65 billion in insured losses, and that makes it the second most costly hurricane ever. I believe Hurricane Katrina that hit New Orleans was the most costly. Now we can already tell from this drive that Sanibel has made a ton of progress compared to some of the video footage we saw from immediately prior to the storm, but that being said, you still can see signs of the storm's devastation almost everywhere you look.
And it shouldn't be surprising considering the storm's wind speed reached 150 miles per hour, which will obviously cause a lot of damage. But from our understanding, it was actually the 13-foot plus storm surge that caused most of the damage, leaving the ground floor of almost every home and business on the islands almost completely underwater. You will see that many homes and some businesses on the island as well are built up on stilts, or maybe just have unfinished garage space on the ground floor levels. And obviously those structures would have fared much better in these storms, but there are many older single-story homes and businesses on the islands that would have been completely underwater, which will have to be gutted or completely rebuilt.
I don't think we knew exactly what to expect on this drive, but so far there does seem to be a good amount of people out on the roads, and also a lot of people out walking, jogging, and biking. And while many of the shops and restaurants still do appear to be vacant and to show no signs of reopening, many of them look great, and we can't imagine the amount of time and effort that went into getting them back in such good shape. And we're so happy to see cars in the parking lots and people walking in and out of these businesses, because they really do need the business now more than ever.
Sanibel does seem to be a bit more lively than I think we expected it to be, but we're sure it's not anywhere close to what it would typically be on Memorial Day. And we can also confirm that it's not nearly as busy as Fort Myers Beach, which is actually where we spent our last 2 days filming before this. And even though there were definitely way more tourists out and about on that island, the destruction on Fort Myers Beach overall still seems worse than it does so far here on Sanibel.
Now we believe the storm surge was over 13 feet on both islands, but Sanibel is a much wider island than Fort Myers Beach, and the main road here that many of the businesses are located on is actually probably about a mile or so from the Gulf. There also appears to be many more trees on this island, giving those inland homes and businesses here on Sanibel a lot more protection compared to the structures on Fort Myers Beach, where almost everything is located within just a couple blocks of the coastline.
If you do want to see our experience spending 2 days on Fort Myers Beach and exploring that island, we do expect to have that video up next week, so please do consider subscribing to our channel if you don't want to miss it. And if you happen to be watching this video after June 10th, then that video should already be up and you can go watch it after this one.
Now the island of Captiva to the north is much more narrow like Fort Myers, but from what we read it also experienced a much lower storm surge, so it'll be really interesting to see what that island looks like compared to here on Sanibel. So as you probably noticed, we turned left off of Periwinke onto Tarpon Bay Rd, which will take us down to the south shore of the island.
We're taking this route because we want to show you all what the southern coast of the island looks like, but also want to see if the Tarpon Bay beach might be open. According to Google, it is still closed, but given that it's Memorial Day weekend and it's one of the more popular beaches on the island, we thought there might be a chance that it's open by now.
Now as we continue to get closer to the southern coast of the island, we are starting to notice some more significant amounts of damage to the trees and structures, likely due to having less wind protection from those further inland.
Alright, so the good news is the Tarpon Bay beach is definitely open, but the parking lot is packed, and I don't think we're going to find a spot right now, but we'll plan to swing back by this beach later today, which means we'll hopefully get to show you 6 beaches in this video.
We did make it back to this beach, and it ended up being one of our favorites, so be sure to watch to the end of this video to see more footage from it.
At this point, I think we're both ready to get out on the beach, and hopefully you're all ready to see some beaches as well. So we're going to head back to the main road and take that over to the western part of the island, where you'll find a couple different beaches that supposedly are open.
Driving along the Gulf Coast here on the south side of Sanibel, I think this is where you can really see the destruction of Hurricane Ian the most. We've seen countless numbers of downed trees, a lot of dead vegetation, piles of debris, and a bunch of houses and condo buildings that appear to have been completely abandoned. Now, because of how gorgeous this part of the island is, we're sure it will be totally rebuilt and more beautiful than ever with time, but as of now, it appears to have a long ways to go.
As we continue to make our way towards our first beach stop of the day, we want to know if you visited Sanibel or Captiva Islands. If so, let us know which one and when in the comments. And if you have any plans to visit either island in the future, be sure to share that as well.
So at this point in the drive, we've covered around 7.5 miles, or about half of the 15-mile drive from the Lighthouse Beach Park on Sanibel to our northernmost destination on Captiva. And while driving on these islands is enjoyable, our original plan was actually to explore Sanibel and Captiva on our e-bikes. I would say that some of the bike trails on this island do seem to be slightly damaged from Ian, but overall we've been really impressed with the amount and condition of trails on this island. And we're really excited to come back to explore more of these islands with our e-bikes sometime in the future when they've had even more time to recover.
We arrived at the beach around 10:45 a.m. Monday of Memorial Day, and there is still quite a bit of parking. So here's where the main parking lot is, and here's where you walk out to the beach. Parking here is $5 per hour, and there is a $150 fine if you don't pay. There's a little picnic area here and also a place for bikes. We have seen a ton of bikes on the island so far. And their restroom facilities are open, which is very nice compared to all the porta potties at Fort Myers Beach. The water fountains work, and the shower stations work as well. First impressions of this beach are that it kind of reminds us of Longboat a little bit, also Fort DeSoto and Anna Maria. So the sand here is a little salt and pepper colored. It's pretty soft, but there are some areas closer to the water that are also pretty shelly. We've only been here about 20 minutes, but we've already seen a few different pods of dolphins.
If you enjoyed our footage of Bowman's Beach and would like to jump ahead to our next beach stop, then go ahead and skip forward to the 15:05 mark.
I do see a curve ahead, which I believe means we're getting close to the far northwest end of Captiva, and that's where our second beach stop is, Blind Pass Beach. There is a really nice view of the Gulf here on this part of the road, but also quite a bit of storm damage and debris. The parking lot here at Blind Pass is much smaller, and there are people just hanging out waiting for parking. It's also $5 an hour and also a $150 fine if you don't pay.
This is the northernmost beach access on Sanibel, so you can see Captiva across the pass. Due to the limited parking though, this beach is not busy at all. Because the sand is salt and pepper colored, it is pretty hot.
The water here is absolutely gorgeous, but I think because it's on the pass, swimming is not recommended. This would be a great beach if you're looking for some peace and quiet and some space, but there's not going to be any amenities like places to rinse your feet or restrooms besides porta potties.
Something I just noticed, alcohol beverages are permitted on the beach. Not in the parking lot, but on the beach.
Here's Skylar back to pick me up because we couldn't find parking.
Just to the north of Blind Pass Beach, you'll find the bridge which crosses over Blind Pass to Captiva Island. From this bridge, you'll find views of Blind Pass Beach and Turner Beach, which happens to be our third beach stop of the day.
As you can see, the parking spots here at the Turner Beach access are pretty limited. There's maybe 30 or so. On Monday, on Memorial Day weekend, not surprisingly, they are all full. So Jamie dropped me off to go check out this beach. So if you are planning on visiting this beach and need to park, I definitely recommend showing up early. And due to the lack of parking on this beach, even on Memorial Day weekend, it really isn't that busy at all. As you get a little closer to the shoreline, there are a ton of shells on this beach. I would imagine this is a very popular beach for shelling. The water is a beautiful turquoise blue color here. The waves are pretty strong because, like Blind Pass Beach, it's located right on the pass. I haven't seen any no swimming signs, but my guess is that swimming here probably isn't recommended. Turner Beach does also seem to be a pretty popular spot for fishing. The changing rooms and the showers are not currently open, but they do at least have a couple of porta potties.
As we make our way 3 more miles northwards to our next Captiva beach stop, we want to thank you for watching this video and invite you to check out more of our channel. We post new Florida travel videos almost every Saturday, so be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss them. And if you've seen enough driving footage and want to skip forward to the next beach, then click ahead to the 2157 mark. As we continue to make our way northwards up Captiva Drive, we have to say that even in the island's far from normal condition, it was still one of the more beautiful drives we've ever experienced. We found sections of the road to be lined with flowering plants and lush tropical vegetation, while other sections provided stunning views of the turquoise Gulf waters. Located just off of Captiva's super cute downtown area and right next to one of the island's most popular restaurants, you'll find Andy Rosse Lane Park. While the beach at Andy Rosse Lane Park is beautiful, accessing it can be a challenge, as all parking in the area is reserved for the Mucky Duck restaurant. And while guests of the Mucky Duck can enjoy great views of the beach, either from the inside or outside dining areas, anyone parked in Mucky Duck parking is prohibited from walking down onto the beach. So if you decide to visit this beach, you should plan on being dropped off or arriving by foot or bicycle. We did grab a late lunch at the Mucky Duck and really enjoyed the food and drinks, as well as the views of the beautiful Andy Rosse Lane Beach. With just one more Captiva beach left to visit, we made our way another half-mile up the island, where you'll find the northernmost Captiva public beach access at Allison Hagerup Beach Park.
Parking at this park is also pretty limited, but it's also very expensive. It was going to cost us $25 for 2 hours or $40 for the day. Now, I'm not sure if those are normal prices or if it's just because of the holiday weekend, but because of that, Skylar's dropped me off and I'm going to walk out and check out the beach.
While this beach also has no amenities other than a few porta potties, it didn't take long to realize why this beach is so appealing.
I do think the sand here looks just a little bit darker than the other beaches that we have visited. And there's also quite a few shelly areas as well, but the color of the water is absolutely gorgeous, and as you can see, there are a bunch of people out swimming. It does look like you could keep walking to the north quite a bit, and that'd probably be a pretty secluded experience.
At this point, we've explored from the far eastern tip of Sanibel to the most northern public beach access on Captiva, and hit 5 different beaches along the way. And that leaves just one final beach stop to wrap up this beautiful day on the islands. This final stop takes us almost 12 miles back to the southeast, where at the southernmost point on Sanibel Island, you'll find Tarpon Bay Beach. We found this beach to offer lots of bike parking and to be located along the bike trail. We also found this beach to offer $5 per hour parking, nice working restrooms, rinse-off stations, and water fountains, plus a map showing public beach parking spots throughout the island. And while accessing this beach would require a quarter-mile walk from the parking lot, we'd soon find that the hike is definitely worth it.
This beach also has salt and pepper sand and a ton of shells. I definitely see why a lot of people come to Sanibel and Captiva to go shelling.
The beautiful 83-degree water was the perfect way for us to end our day of exploring Sanibel and Captiva Islands, both of which still have a long road ahead of them, but are absolutely wonderful. And if you'd like to see our experience staying just a few miles to the east in Fort Myers Beach, then go ahead and click on this video next. Thanks for watching!